Assessment English International Virtual Conference, Research into Practice Evidence-Based Decision-Making in International Education. My name is Sonia Tobing, Cambridge Assessment English Country Manager for Indonesia. First of all, thank you for all the participants who joined this morning session from all nationalities, and especially the participants from Indonesia, from province government, city government, and all education institutions. Before we start the session, I will introduce our moderators and speakers for this session. Our moderator is Ms. Lim Cheng Pierre, Regional Commercial Directors for Asian, Australasia, Japan, and Korea at Cambridge Assessment English, University of Cambridge. She has extensive experience at growing, emerging, and untapped markets. Her leadership acumen is driven from her diverse exposure of cultures across Asia Pacific, coupled with senior management discipline in her rich career with multinational corporations such as the Lego Company and Apple. Jean-Pierre enjoys reading and music. Her passion in art formed the basis of her inspiration to drive diversity and change. Her belief in creating sustainable growth through lead cultural diversity is anchored by her active, engaged, driven platform, proven by her constant participation as an advisory committee at Singapore Association for Mental Health, TechY Primary Schools, and other nonprofit organizations. Jean-Pierre holds a Master of Art from University of Cambridge, Master of Art Economics from the University of Queensland, and Bachelor of Arts from Simon Fraser University. Hello, Jean-Pierre. Can you unmute yourself and say hello?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and some very, very good morning to some people who are dialing in from other parts of the world, and good afternoons to other people as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre. Yeah. Our first speaker is Dr. Iwan Syaril, PhD, Director General for Teachers and Education Personnel, Ministry of Education, Republic of Indonesia. Dr. Iwan Syaril is an educator with more than 25 years experience, with specialization in teachers and teaching quality, education policy, and comparative international education. Previously, Pak Iwan served as a dean in the Faculty of Education, Sampurna University. He also a co-founder and researcher at Center for Education and Policy Studies. Pak Iwan is as the expert ad hoc team in the National Accreditation Board for K-12 schools and the Technical Advisory Board at Tanoto Foundation. Dr. Syaril was a Fulbright scholar studying at Columbia University and Michigan State University, a scholar in residence at Stardust Schools, New York, and alumni of East-West Center. Good morning, Dr. Iwan Syaril. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can just unmute myself. Hello,
Yes.
Bu Sonia. How are you?
Hello, Pak Iwan. Good afternoon. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar, Pak.
Thank you for inviting me, Bu Sonia.
Of course, our pleasure. Our next speaker is Ms. Susan Leong, the Center Director of Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization Regional Language Center, Singapore. We can say SEAMEO RELC, Singapore. Ms. Susan Leong holds a BA Hons in Geography from University of Cambridge, a postgraduate certificate in education from the University of London, Institute of Education, and a master degree in educational administration from Harvard University. Ms. Susan Leong has worked in various positions in the area of education in government school in Singapore, starting as a teacher, then head of department, vice principal, before becoming a principal and lead 3 other schools in Singapore. In addition to working in schools, Ms. Susan Leong was posted to the Ministry of Education and served as Deputy Director Planning. She was posted to lead SEAMEO RELC as Center Director start in January 2016. At SEAMEO RELC, she helmed the Center 50th Anniversary Celebration in 2018, when a new scholarship for the Certificate for English Language Teaching Secondary, or CELT-S from Cambridge English program was launched. She also led the center to achieve the Singapore Quality Class Award in 2017 and 2020. Good morning, good afternoon, Miss Susan. Hello, Miss Susan.
Good morning. Sorry, am I supposed to say something? Good morning to everyone in your different time zones.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for participating in this session.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to listening to Iwan,
Yes.
as well as thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Ms. Susan. Without further ado, and before I hand the session to our moderators, I hope you will enjoy these informative sessions. Ms. Lim Cheng here, time is yours.
Thank you, Sonia. I believe we are inviting Dr. Iwan to start his presentation.
Yes, correct. So our first speakers, Dr. Iwan Syaril, PhD. You can start your presentation.
Thank you so much, Bu Sonia, Ms. Cheng Pierre, and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy because that is the utmost important thing of all that for all of us at the moment, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for inviting me for this very prestigious conference. And I hope that I can share something about the experience of Indonesia in terms of managing like the teachers development and how we're thinking about the transformation that is needed to respond to a lot of demands in our society. So can I do a screen share?
Yes, Pak Iwan, you're allowed to.
Okay. So
I can see your screen, Pak Iwan. It's clear.
Thank you so much, Bu Sonia. Okay. So the title of my presentation, I expanded a little bit from teacher development to education transformation, teacher development, bilingual education in Indonesia. COVID has called for a lot of rethinking about how we should manage our education in general. But actually, prior to COVID, I think everyone in the world, every education system has also been involved in terms of thinking about how we structure and how we advance our education system in a way that is making it more relevant for our challenges and also for our students who will live in the future. We have recognized that there are shifts that are happening around the world. We can categorize it into three areas. The first one is technology. The new technologies, a lot of breakthroughs are impacting all sectors of our life. The automation, artificial intelligence, big data, 5G, and 3D printing, and a lot more. So this is like an area that is very fast and very disruptive to a lot of sectors. And then the second category is the socio-cultural, the changing demographics and the socioeconomic profile of the global population. First, because of the advancement of the science, we have an increased lifespan now. It is said that the average lifespan later, not very long from now, is around 80 to 100 years old. And then the migration, urbanization has created like a new kind of ways of how humans live, and especially the population in big cities, emerging middle class, and the workforce that have become more flexible, more mobile. And I think the COVID has stressed that as well, like has highlighted that how actually we can do work from anywhere to get the job done. And then the third category is our Earth, our planet, the environmental, the depleted fossil fuels, extreme weather, rising sea levels, and water shortages, and etc. So all of this makes us wonder about how we should rethink about our school. And the question that has always been like in different ways of asking is the same kind of question, which is, how can our schools be relevant or lead the learning of tomorrow? Because our students will live not for the era where we have lived, but they will live in the future era. So this is a critical question, and arguably, education system has not changed much. And many experts say that the education system, how we conduct teaching and learning, the logic and everything is still stuck in the second industrial revolution. While the world has been changing, and then now we are in the industrial revolution 4.0, and we need to do like not only like a progression but a leapfrog to meet the demands of our generation. So in Indonesia, the conversation, especially many stakeholders and the policymakers, is to think about how we can do a transformation. So it's not like a reform, but a transformation to rethink and reimagine education, teaching and learning, so it can be more relevant. And I've mentioned a little bit about the new technologies that have created new imagination about how teaching and learning can be done. The artificial intelligence, the robotics, big data, and Internet of Things, and also like the needs of learning because of not only because of the continuous disruption, things that we feel like are relevant now, suddenly in the next 3, 4, 5 years no longer relevant. So there is a constant need for learn, relearn, and unlearn. But also the extension of human lifespan. So it means that the society will have more productive years. So then again, like the need for learn, unlearn, and relearn. So education should also think about not only preparing just in case learning. Maybe in the past it's about, okay, you learn this because later in the future, just in case you will need this. But when students graduate from universities, that things that we think that we can anticipate suddenly is gone. Or here it says that the pace of the change is so rapid, then skills that are taught in college suddenly become redundant or outdated by the time of the student graduation. So it's not just in case learning, but just in time learning. So this emphasize again that need for learn, unlearn, and relearn. And the lifelong learning is not just like some a luxury anymore, but it's a necessity to compete and to survive. It's a famous quote from Alvin Toffler: "The illiterate of the 21st century will not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." And how teachers, what kind of teachers then we need to respond to this? So it's not just, I think content is now everywhere. I think mastery of content now is necessary, but it's not enough anymore. I think teachers need to be more creative, and the function is more as a mentors and a coaches, because they are creating or designing lessons that are more personalized, inquiry-based, focusing on real problems and doing it project-based learning. So this is like just like the big ideas about and how we're thinking about moving forward in our transformation in Indonesia. This is just from the OECD, because when we think about developing teachers, we also need to think about the students, because that's the first and foremost thing in a teacher quality, which is how they know about their students and their learning. So understanding about the 21st century students will also help us to think about what kind of teachers that we need to develop. 21st century students live in interconnected, diverse, rapidly changing world. And then the emerging forces, the economic, digital, cultural, demographic, environmental, these are the forces that are shaping the lives of the young people wherever we are in the world, and that increase also their intercultural encounters. on a daily basis. And I think COVID has make it like even like more like stronger for this to happen. So young people today not only learn from must not only learn about to participate in a more interconnected world, but also appreciate and benefit from cultural differences, meaning they are global citizens. So they need to be appreciative about how these differences around the world become something beneficial and powerful for solutions that we want to create for the problems that we are facing. So there comes like our vision about the transformation. So first of all, we call this Merdeka Belajar. Merdeka Belajar is a term, maybe in the loose translation, it means freedom to learn. And the focus is about the students, how students can grow holistically according to who they are, and not like one size fits all, but it's more like differentiated and personalized. So it's a high quality education for all Indonesians. And there are like three pillars for this, which is first, like we want to push the enrollments, and then quality outcomes and equitable distribution across geography and socioeconomic status. And this will be achieved through the improvement in infrastructure technology. Technology is, we believe, as a game changer, will help us to do all of those three more effectively and efficiently. And then the policies, procedures, and funding, leadership, people, and culture. We want to highlight leadership here. I'll explain that in a minute. And then transforming also the curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. So this is like the vision of how we want to create like a good ecosystem for our students to learn. But the key of all is the one on the top left corner, which is the agency, influence, and support from all stakeholders, including students or learners. What we mean by this is that it's not enough about the government. Like the improvement of education quality should be like a movement, like a national movement. And it includes like all stakeholders in the society. So it's not just about the teachers or the educational institutions, but also family, the employers or industry, and the society in general. So this is what we want, that we are at the moment actually creating the sense of this is a movement, and all stakeholders should be involved in this to make it happen for all our students, our children, who will be our leaders of the future. I don't want to maybe like go through like the initiatives because that will be very long. But what I want to stay in this slide is that where we want to go, the transformation that we want to create is first to ensure that learning is a joyful experience, and to create an education system which is more open so that all stakeholders can collaborate, and the role of the teachers focusing on the facilitators of learning. So not like the teachers who know everything, but they facilitate learning to address the individual needs of the students. And the pedagogy, the curriculum, and assessment that is more based on competency and values based. The approach, student-centered or learner-centric, more personalized approach. Technology as the game changer. And then creating programs that are more relevant to the industry. So how we can make this connection. People who are in the industry should also be more involved in the education. And then the freedom to innovate for schools, universities. Give them like the support, the policies that can stimulate and cultivate the culture of innovation in schools and the universities, and then the agency of all stakeholders. So it's not just about the government, but all parties need to be involved. And especially in a country like Indonesia, where you have more than almost 50 million students, and then 300,000 schools across 6,000 of 17,000 of islands that are inhabited. 6,000 are inhabited in our country. So it's a massive movement, and government can never do it alone. So in terms of like the transformation for teacher development, so this is how we are seeing it. First, that the top is about the learner, it's about the students, and this is the mindset that that we want to change, because believe it or not, at the moment, I think the culture in the system is still more about the compliance to the regulation. So I think we need to change this mindset. The most important party to serve for every teacher is the learner. It's not about the administrative requirement. It's not about the compliance, but it's for what is best for the learner. So to give teachers the confidence for believing in this and then making decisions based on what is in the best interest of the learner, I think it's something that in our policy design and our programs, we need to keep sending this message and keep reinforcing that. And then the idea of the Lighthouse Schools here is that this is the agency, like the agency of all stakeholders. It's not enough for a school to be good on their own. So what we are trying to create all across Indonesia is the Lighthouse Schools, where the schools can be the agents of change for other schools, like helping other schools. So to collaborate together, we have a value in Indonesia called gotong royong, which is like collaboration, but collaboration that is based on social empathy and social responsibility. That is like one of our cultural values that are shared by hundreds of different cultures in Indonesia, that we think that we need to tap into in order to leapfrog. So it's not enough that you are good on your own. You have to have like the empathy and responsibility to make others as good as you too, or maybe even better. So by having this value ingrained in our design and our program, and it's also emphasized that sense of movement again as a national to improve the education system. And in terms of teachers, we have like 5 core programs. The first one, and this is the leadership, it's about transforming educational leadership. We all know that when the leader is good, and the school will also be good. And when that good leader is removed or assigned to another school, that school will be shaky again. In Indonesia, I think we have neglected this for quite a long period of time. So what we want what do we mean by transforming educational leadership? We want to strengthen the philosophy or the vision of instructional leadership. So the school principal and supervisor should serve as the instructional leaders. When the principal or the supervisor are instructional leaders, they don't just understand about the student-centered learning and can do it. They all model it for other teachers, but they can also mentor and coach other teachers. And this is the key, mentoring and coaching other teachers, so that in every school we have like the mentor and coach, and the teacher development will be school-based instead of, at the moment, it's still more like the external, like teachers go to other places, maybe in a meeting in the hotel or in some like government buildings, and to do workshop. They are being removed from their ecosystem, which is the school. When the teacher development is school-based, we believe that first, it will be more relevant. Second, it will problem solve immediately what is happening with the situation of student learning in that school. So it will be it will be more efficient and effective, and it will also create like that other coaches or mentors in that school, so that ecosystem will be very dynamic. So this is why at the moment we are launching programs for school leadership or education leadership that has this kind of vision, which is making them to be instructional leaders, or basic that philosophy. And the second one is pre-service teacher education. And this is also something that we need to strengthen very much, because at the moment, this area has been neglected too, in a way that we don't strengthen our capacity to keep up with what is the latest update in how we produce teachers. And the third one is developing center of excellence for teacher learning in every province. We have 34 provinces in Indonesia, scattered all around all of these islands. And at the moment, the centers of excellence for teacher learning are only located mainly in Java. So one of the 5 big islands in Indonesia. So therefore, how like teachers want to develop, they have to travel very far and they have to wait for their turn. We cannot serve all because it's very limited. So what we want to push is to create a center of excellence for teacher learning in every province. And then number 4 is empowering education communities to also like do programs, great programs that focus on what we want to see in our students, our student graduate profile, which focuses on 3 areas, literacy, numeracy, and character. We believe these are like the core competencies that are flexible, that can, because it's not based on content anymore. Literacy is across content, numeracy is the same, and character is the same. This to anticipate like the current generation, which is everything is keep changing, content is everywhere. So what we need to strengthen is the core competencies, which is literacy, numeracy, and character. So the education communities that have like good programs can work together with the government to make it happen. And then number 5 is revising regulations and governance. Believe it or not, like every time like we create a policy in Indonesia, we're thinking about 512 local governments that have the autonomy to implement it according to their context, and the sense making of how the policy is interpreted is not easy. So you imagine like 512 plus 34, so 548 possible contextual variations that we also have to think in terms of policy. So this is another area that to support like the teacher development in Indonesia. So this is the number of teachers in Indonesia. We have around 3 million teachers and principals, 2.7 million teachers, 275 principals, and 24,000 supervisors. And this is they are in about 300,000 schools all across Indonesia. This is the context at the moment that we have only about 231 master teacher trainers that work to train teachers in our centers for development, empowerment, teachers, educational personnel that I mentioned earlier, but in Java. So basically, they can only reach up to, in our calculation, 357,000 teachers every year, and which is not really enough to meet like the target population of teacher. So only 12% that can be reached through this master teacher trainers. So that's why we need to empower the communities. We need to work strategically with a lot of strategic partners to make sure that our teachers can get the best training continuously. Now, I will end my presentation to talk a little bit about the bilingual education in Indonesia. I think this is also what was requested of me to talk a little bit. We see there is a tension in terms of bilingual education in Indonesia. We believe that this can be more massive, but at the moment, of course, there are supporting factors and challenges that we're facing. Well, we acknowledge that the bilingual education can support the cognitive and social advantages because students or workforce that have the bilingual or multilingual competencies will have advantages when they work cognitively. They can be more critical because they can see things from different perspectives. There is an acknowledgement that when you can speak of a foreign language or more than one language, it's a symbol of modern identity and a mark of an educated person, and academic advantage because you can access information in English, especially in English in this context that maybe others cannot understand. So this is something that make students that have good English or other foreign languages have an advantage over other students. But at the same time, in the history of maybe in the past 20 years, we've been dealing with these challenges. The first one is this global and local dilemma, right? the penetration of global values, because not just about the language, but also about the values that are seen or perceived can be impacting the local culture, local language, and